And we are back.
Yes, we are.
With the Silent Cartographer, level 4 of Halo Combat Evolved.
Yes, we have gone through the long, arduous process of reclaiming Captain Keyes on the Truth and Reconciliation, and he has overheard some critical information that we are on something called the Halo, and that there's something called the Silent Cartographer, which will give us some critical information about what the Halo is and why it's so important to the Covenant. And so we're here to figure all that shit out.
Now, Sean, you and I have both in the past called this the best level, not just in Halo, but like in Halo history.
Yes.
Why is that? In a general sense, what are things we should be paying attention to?
Well, one, this opening is just iconic.
Yes.
Here you get like the full Halo theme, you have that big driving music, and we're storming the beaches of not quite Normandy, but you know, something approximate to it. Just a nice like
Space
really,
Normandy.
Space Normandy, and this fun sort of approach at the beginning of the level, and you don't really know the full scope of like what this level is going to be like just based on this, but it's a nice fun little action opening with all of your nice buddies, your Marines, and this is like one of the most useful points for them in the whole game, other than when they're on a vehicle with you, is their ability to just sort of like, I think because probably some of the AI is scripted, their ability to kind of take this beach is really nice. I'm just gonna take these guys out really quick. There's also something that I always love about this, is how the sort of like the speed and the swiftness with which you can take all these guys out because you have all your friends with you. Normally this would be a much longer and harder fight. These guys down. And we can see we did not get Sergeant Johnson this time. We got the other guy, but... Oh! I just got an achievement for you, Jonathan.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
congratulations.
congratulations.
It came up on my phone, too.
Yes, apparently I stormed this beach and took this whole territory without losing a single Marine.
Good job.
That's something that apparently you've never managed to do, Jonathan. We can see here now Foehammer is bringing in our Warthog, and if I can just get under here... Haha! Now the Foehammer will not drop the Warthog unless I move, because if they drop it on me, it will kill me instantaneously. Oh, okay, I couldn't quite get myself to die on it, but I'm pretty sure it can happen.
Come on, floor!
And she is probably thinking, this
move
fucking asshole.
Yes, exactly. Like, why are you running right under me, trying to get me to kill you with your own vehicle, you piece of shit. But yeah, so that's one thing that's awesome about the Silent Cartographer, is just that opening is really great. And then you get the Warthog, which is the first time we've seen the Warthog since the second level. And then you will notice when we start driving around that you can actually go either one of these directions, and this whole level is basically a tiny open world. And that's what's really special about it, is that there's a number of different objectives on this map, and you do have to complete them in order, but you can kind of come at them from any different direction, and you kind of wrap in on yourself in different areas you've been to as you go through it. And it almost reminds me a little bit of the level design in something like a Dark Souls, honestly, that it's got this sort of feeling of you going like through some building and coming out the other side and then opening up into this area and realizing, oh crap, like this is overlooking like this beach that I just was on 5 minutes ago. And that sense of continuity in the level is really cool, and it just is one thing that's nice about Halo 1, is that sense of sort of like clarity in space and clarity in objective. And I think this level is kind of like the best example of that.
Absolutely. I also think this level is so... It's so exemplary of all the things Halo does well, because you have those open spaces and the way it brings you around in very creative ways, but it also, you have some tighter corridors, you're going up and down, you're also going, in a more flat plane on the open world, on the kind of higher world. There's just a lot of variability to what you have here. There's vehicle combat, there's non-vehicle, there's a lot of walking around, you got some hunter encounters. There's so many different things going on in this level, it feels like it does give you a taste of everything Halo's about.
And of course, you can, if you want, just drive infinitely into the ocean. There's something I remember a long time ago on the original Xbox playing Halo 1 and just doing this for like 5 minutes to just see what the hell happens.
What does this do in the new graphics?
That's a good question. Oh god.
Oh boy.
This is, You're not supposed to... They did not design these graphics to be looked at this far out. I mean, certainly not in the old ones, but it looks slightly more normal than this is like a surrealist painting or something at some point.
Oh, that is great. I love that. That looks beautiful.
Yeah.
In a weird way. Both of these.
Yeah. So you
One
can't
of those is
just
going to be the thumbnail.
you can't just drive out there forever if you want. You get a good look at the island this far out. But that's one of the things that this level is also very iconic in the Halo fan base, because this is the level where I can't remember his sort of internet name, but the sort of very famous warthog jump video that internet users did of kind of getting all these grenades underneath this warthog on this map and blowing them up through the chain reaction, and using the physics of Halo, which were pretty new and pretty kind of like cutting edge at the time, to launch the warthog clear over and like kind of across the entire island. And it's a kind of classic early internet video that definitely went viral back in the day.
Which, of course, is a huge part of Halo's legacy.
Yes.
Is machinima and gameplay videos up to, everything we do now on the internet with, talking about games over games, in some point comes back to Halo, right?
Yes. I mean, it does... There we go. Just got blown up. But it definitely... It's the... One of the big legacies of Halo, I think, is the sort of creativity it inspired in its fan community in both playing with the sandbox, playing with the physics, or, like you said, sort of like all the different machinima experiments, Red vs. Blue obviously being the most famous and successful. But I remember spending a lot of time back in the day, like, downloading weird, like, QuickTime videos of, like, weird comedic machinima videos of different Halo projects, most of which probably don't even exist anymore, if I were to guess.
Yeah, I mean, you and I made some machinima projects in Halo 3.
That is true. We did for a couple of school projects. The fun, weird thing about Halo is that it just...
Capture card technology has come a long way.
Yes,
I'll just tell you that.
Yes, this is a much smoother process now than it was back then.
You kids these days. You know what? If there's any one reason that we waited a while to do this, Sean, it's probably residual stress from when we did that in high school.
Yeah.
Which was a fucking mess and nightmare.
Somehow I've managed to get all my friends blown up.
It's okay. It's what they wanted.
I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but I mean, we can tell ourselves so that we can sleep at night.
Hey, they're not here to defend themselves. Say whatever you want.
That's true.
All right.
I probably should have just stayed in the Warthog the whole time, but I kind of wanted to get out and kick some ass myself. This is one thing that's fun to do, is just driving the Warthog in here. It's a bit more effective when you have someone on the turret to help you, but... See,
there you go. Because again, if they're even nudged by this thing, they will die.
Yes, one of the sort of maybe less impressive aspects of the Halo physics are the vehicle collisions and just annihilating someone with the sort of the exhaust fumes coming out of your tailpipe basically will just kill someone instantly.
Hey, look, everybody's got to start somewhere. At least Halo started somewhere ridiculous.
Yeah. I always like, you can get the Warthog down here with a bit of finagling and just... And you can just look at the Master Chief just jerking back and forth in the driver's seat.
Don't let them lock the doors.
Don't let them lock the doors! Ah!
Sean, you let them lock the doors.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we call a scripted event in the video game biz. There's no way to get through there other than by glitching the game. I think you can get in there, but normally you cannot.
I love this guy's just standing there mocking you.
And you can just shoot him. I don't know if he ever dies from this, because it's not supposed to hit him. There's someone else in here. But yeah, that guy just is sort of standing there on the other side of the room. You can see him better in this view.
Yeah.
But we will be coming back here later.
We will. And you know, it's an interesting thing in Halo 1. Halo 1 uses backtracking quite a bit.
Yes.
And I think you agree with me, generally uses it very well and interestingly.
Yeah.
But that is something that has much more of a stigma in more modern game design.
Yeah, and it is something that Halo 1 got a bit of criticism for back in the day, is particularly in the back half where they reuse some of the levels, which is something I don't really have a problem with. But yeah, here, I think in particular on this level, the backtracking is really well designed, and it's part of the sort of the flow of the map. You get a sense of what this location is, where that door is, and it sets up that door as your sort of prime objective for the first half of the level. So that way, what you're doing throughout this whole section, kind of driving around the island, is trying to get back to that door and open it up and get what's behind there, because that's where the Silent Cartographer is. So it's again, something about clarity of objective is so important in an action game, because it's very easy to lose sight of what you're doing and why you're trying to do it. And I think Halo is a masterclass in doing that in ways that aren't just like by making the objective just go save the princess. The objectives are more varied than that, but they are also always, I think, immediately clear to the player exactly what you're trying to do here.
Absolutely. And they're varied in interesting ways, and they move you through the levels at different paces, too. Because the Silent Cartographer, we're going to get to levels later on in the game that are very much like breathless from start to finish. This is not that level. It's got a lot of little breaks, like where you're at, right, well, until now you started shooting.
Yeah.
But, you can kind of go explore a little bit, line up where you're going to take on these enemies from. But there is this sense of constant propulsion, because whatever you're doing, even if it's a slower moment, it's in service of whatever that greater end goal is. And every level being a contained experience really helps with that. It's one of the reasons, actually, I think that I get why in Halo 2 they made the switch to some of those shorter levels, but I've never quite liked it because it means, one objective kind of gets broken up over a couple of shorter levels, and it is a pacing problem in that game.
Yeah, I think Halo 2 is actually a really good example of where they don't do that well enough. You lose sight of, why you're trying to, go after a heretic leader halfway through that, the first Arbiter set of missions, and splitting up the objectives across multiple levels definitely makes it hard to sort of keep sight of your sort of motivations as a character and as a player.
Because really, the only motivation we remember from Halo 2 is that there's a cable, and you're going to cut it.
Yes.
So that's about it.
It's just about the spicy dialogue.
Didn't you tell me once that in the commentary, Joseph Staten or someone explains that, they built half of the Arbiter's game just around the line, the cable I'm going to cut it?
Yeah, basically some of the first stuff they did in sort of writing the plot for Halo 2 was Jason Jones, who was sort of the product lead at Bungie for a long time. I think he maybe still is on Destiny 2, I'm not sure. But yeah, he had a number of different lines, some of which didn't actually make it into the game. One of them was, the cable, I'm going to cut it.
The cable, I'm going to cut it.
One of the ones that didn't make into the game was, it was supposed to be the Master Chief overlooking the destruction of Earth, putting his hand on, a window, and saying, "Only blood will pay for this," which never...
I don't know if I can really imagine the Chief saying that.
Only blood will pay for this.
Yeah, it has a slightly different tone, I think, than what they ultimately with the game. And there was another line, and I can't remember what the other line was, but yeah, it was, the development of Halo 2 is a long and sordid tale. And again, if you want to sort of catch up on that and get a really in-depth look of the trials and tribulations of that game, the Bungie YouTube channel has some good documentaries, and the Waypoint Oral History of Halo has a lot of insight into why Halo 2 was as chaotic as it was. But, Halo 1 was also a really frenzied, chaotic development, and it's something where, it's just the weird alchemy and sort of, miracle of game development is sometimes... almost every game has a horrible, troubled development. Sometimes they come out the other side masterpieces. Sometimes they don't, and it's...
Well, and Halo 2, of course, had its troubled development split across a multiplayer and a single-player experience.
Yeah.
And, there is multiplayer in Halo 1. It's a much smaller component.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have online. And, of course, the online and multiplayer component of Halo 2 is beyond reproach. It's a masterpiece and very influential. And you can feel where the strain kind of landed on that game.
Missed them. Come on, Mr. Hunter. There we go.
This is definitely one of the best Hunter encounters to show their weak point off.
Yeah, because this is the first time you have the pistol while you're fighting them, and they just don't have a lot of, sort of behaviors to sort of counteract the simple bop.
Bye.
Let's just take a little nap. Poor guy. Poor, you don't get quite as much blood out of these guys as you do the Jackals. But
which is, physically, doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah, it should be way more, but...
If you're for some reason watching these videos for a walkthrough, the terminal is in this area.
Yes, it's true.
It's right under that building there. You can't go look at it because Sean is trying to kill the Jackals, but...
Yeah. This level this level features by far the most difficult skull to get in the Anniversary Edition, where you have to do a ridiculous grenade jump to try to get it.
I hate that. I have gotten that, but I hate it. Suffice to say, I have not gotten all 5,000 gamer score on the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, no, that's I have 1,000 points in most of the Halo games. I think I have everything that's Reach and before, and I guess the Anniversary Edition I have. But yeah, at a certain point, Halo 4 and 5 and this, it just becomes too much.
The moment that kind of broke me on achievements back in the day was I got 1,000 points in Reach. And then they put out DLC.
Oh, yeah.
And that DLC achievements, remember how bullshit those were?
Uh-huh.
And I have never been able to recomplete that.
Yeah, because it definitely, I think we're both the same way, that it's feels way more significant to, get all the achievements in one game than just to have, a huge bulk number of achievements or of gamer score. or trophies on the PlayStation.
It is a thing I like about the trophy system, is getting that platinum.
Yeah.
And then if they do add DLC, it's a separate trophy list. It's not added in. So you can very easily ignore it if you want.
Yeah. Well, Halo 1, of course, did not originally have achievements. So that was one of the things that was a lot of fun about the anniversary version, was sort of getting all those little weird extra objectives.
Back then, achievements were such a huge part of the culture. I feel like that's died down a little bit.
Yeah.
In subsequent years.
Yeah. This is one part of this level, like the part I just went through, starting with those hunters. This is like, when I think of Halo 1's campaign, I either think of like those first few moments in Halo, in the second level Halo, or I think about that passage. There's something so pure about like starting there with getting like the overshield and getting the ammo and the health pack and fighting those 2 hunters and then moving up through here into this little encounter with a couple of elites and a couple of grunts. I don't know, like, it just feels like this like really core encounter in this game.
It's iconic to Halo as I think like 1-1 is to Mario, of just like, here's all the stuff, and it's a good, or 2-1 in Mario, of just like a really good, not necessarily the most challenging part, but just like it's got all the little components of moving through the game.
Yeah, just like really nice, strong level design that filters you very naturally forward through the level without you getting sort of confused or turned around.
I love this part where you're kind of coming in under the structure.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in this like weird little like overhang. There's like an absurd number of overshields in this level that I've never really understood. Even if you're playing in co-op, there's more than you could possibly ever need. But it's, you know, it's appreciated. Now we're going...
They're making sure if you, like, get one and then back off and fall off and have to go back, there's another one waiting for you.
Sure. I mean, you can definitely exhaust those things if you're really trying to. And you're getting more hunters.
When we come back through this room, we're going to have some invisible enemies.
Yes.
And sometimes I forget the order they come in, but the hunters first. Oh, boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
That hunter wanted to kill you so badly, he killed his brother.
Like, that's really shocking because the hunters are supposed... The reason why they always show up in pairs is in the books. They later sort of, like, explain that away as they're, like, these, like, mating or bonding pairs. So, that is basically, I suppose, like, the equivalent of a hunter divorce. But at least you get to die next to each other.
They shoot each other with their fuel rod guns.
Yes.
Hunter divorce.
It's, you know, they had some sort of emotional problems.
That really should be an achievement. Yeah. Hunter divorce is when you get one hunter to blow up the other.
But I'm glad that we were able to help them sort of work through their marital issues. Our little adventure deep into the belly of the beast to open up our
Halo lore is so wonderful.
Yeah. So here we have this nice little hologram.
Little cutscene for us.
It's just showing you.
Good. I should open the door that leads into the main.
Don't entirely understand why the like button to open that door was on like the clear other side of the island, but
you know they
you know the
they don't make it too
Forerunners.
Easy for you.
I mean, it's something that I found as I'm getting older. You know, you need to sort of like make sure you exercise a bit more than you did when you were like 16, right? To keep you like your metabolism up and all that stuff. So I find it's really useful to like build in exercise in your daily routine. So maybe that's what they're doing, is just by putting like basically the doorknob like half a mile away from the door, you just get that like extra little walk in every day.
It's like choosing to bike to work every day.
Exactly, yeah. Or like walking to the bus instead of driving. These visible elites. One of the nice little bits, I think, of balance in Halo 1 is that the invisible enemies do not have any shields. So if you can manage to get the headshot on them, they will die immediately. And so, you know, they have that little kind of extra advantage they have on you because they are invisible, obviously. But if you know what you're doing, you can take them out very quickly.
We've got some of the best music in the game playing right now.
Yeah.
Where we're getting this percussion coming up. It ended, but I love that little piece you get there.
Yeah, you kind of work your way down here. There are a lot of ways to get down, but I'd like to just sort of slide off the bottom.
Yep.
Stop your fall damage.
Move down the beach. Keep an eye out for any cargo we can salvage.
There, that was a textbook Jackal takedown,
Yes,
if
it
I
was.
do say so myself. Just the old two-shot.
Any cargo we can salvage.
Didn't quite get it on this guy.
It's more fun to bash them anyway.
Or you can just, like, spray them.
Yes.
It is, there's a few simpler joys in life than just the ludicrousness of the bullet hose that is the assault rifle in this game. It is the definition of spray and pray in first-person shooters to me.
Well, it's actually one of the most fun things in like high stress situations in this game is to just start spraying in every direction and see if you can make it through it. Because if you do, you basically feel like John Rambo.
Yeah. Grenade down there.
And there we have a slightly less clean Jackal kill.
Yeah, you know, they're
That's
kind
how
of
it
hard
goes.
to get them in the head when they're,
Yeah.
like, recovering from that roll there.
There you go. That was a good one. And there's a lot of blood
Yes.
to cushion your
There
fall.
is another warthog.
Warthogs all over the place.
This is a less fortunate group of Marines than what we
got
came
the
in
rocket.
with. But,
Okay, you wanted to tell us about the rocket launcher melee.
yes, so this the rocket launcher, classic Halo weapon. This is the first time you get it. And just, let's just find a body to hit with it, because that's, you know, that's what you really need is a little meat sack here. Just look and listen to this thing. God!
That sound effect is so satisfying.
We're gonna do it one more time.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. It's such a fantastic melee. It's got so much sort of oomph behind it. You really feel the weight of that whole thing coming down. It's one of my favorite little kind of things in the Halo 1 campaign.
I also just
Aside
love
from
how
Halo 1.
ludicrously big that rocket launcher looks. Like, he's got it. It's huge. Like, if you look at how he has to extend his arms to hold it.
Yeah. And you can see here we have now come all the way around the island, and we are about to regroup with our Marine friends, which we very conveniently can hop in our newfound warthog.
Unless you hit them.
I'm not going to do that, but I could.
No one would blame you, Sean. That's what they're there for.
I almost ran over the Sarge. Hey.
Like I said, they're there to die for you, one way or another.
It's one thing that I wish you could do the thing in the later Halo games where you can swap weapons with the Marines, and it's fun to be able to sort of suit up your warthog with like maybe a rocket launcher Marine in the side passage seat, but fortunately you cannot do that in Halo 1.
This is a beautiful level.
Yeah,
And, you know,
it
we're
really is.
playing on the old graphics, but it's still, I think, very striking. The foliage and the colors.
Yeah, it is definitely you can notice some of those like, oh, that's really different in the new one, but
Yeah.
like one of the hugest differences in like pre-HD video games and post-HD video games is foliage. And you can just see here the difference between
Yes.
just a flat texture on the ground that's supposed to kind of vaguely look like grass and actual little leafy bits. It's the slow march to, you know, like perfect realism or whatever it is that we're working towards in video game graphics. It's just adding a bunch of little doodads all over the place that slow your frame rate down.
Yep. Yeah, when Halo Combat Evolved came out on a DVD. Now the Master Chief Collection, it's 75 gigs.
Yeah.
Or something at this point.
I mean, the Xbox 360 launched with a 20 gigabyte hard drive
Right.
that you really only had access to about 12 to 13 of those gigabytes. Yeah, now we are playing something on a full package of games that is several times larger than that whole memory capacity.
It's nuts.
And now we're back down. We have circled all the way around.
We're gonna see how far we can get this warthog down.
Yeah. There's something just, again, like very satisfying about the sense of accomplishment of having been here, been stymied by a door and some sort of gold elite behind it, and then gone all the way around the island and to accomplish the objective of opening this door, and now we're here again to kick some fucking ass and trigger an optional cutscene, which I'm going to do here.
Called Shafted, which
Yes.
I love. Well, the cutscene is, but it's part of the game.
You can very easily miss this, which I think the first time I played this game, I did miss this little cutscene, and so when the second time I played it and I saw it, I was like, holy crap!
And I love it. I love how he kicks the rock off.
It's like, I thought I knew everything about this game. There's like this weird little tiny extra cutscene here, and another little tiny rock thing that he chooses not to kick. I guess, do you know?
Now we got
Program for
that-
symmetry.
We got that little string thing going on to tell us there's enemies afoot.
Yes, and so this is sort of like the second phase of the level. And here you get to appreciate the range of the melee of the rocket launcher. Is pretty absurd. And it's just the most beautiful thing.
Oh, I love it.
Whap. Whap. So I do traditionally kind of try to go through these sections, mostly just hitting people in the face with a rocket launcher. It's,
Why not?
That's a whole bundle of fun. Oh, grenade down there. What's up, little grunt? Like, look at like the distance you can get when you hit these guys. It's just so fucking stupid at some point that you can do that. But it's a lot of fun. I'm just gonna pull him up.
Nice.
Why not?
Look how far his body flew. Got up to that extra level.
Yeah. Hanging off there. And what are you doing? Just hanging around? Huh? Oh, that was pretty good, huh? There's a little quip.
Good work.
There was a little quip. Did you like that? Your head is really... That's not how that's supposed to go.
I guess you could say he's ahead of the game.
Okay, that's enough. That's... You ruined it. You ruined it.
Yes, I ruined it.
Yes, you ruined it. Just... Again, the blood effects. There's something about the blood effects in this game that so fascinate me. I just don't know.
There's
quite
got to
what it
be
is.
like a horrible smell to this whole game.
Oh,
if there's
yeah.
that much blood everywhere. Like the Chief's got, I know he's got a helmet on. He's got to have it in his mouth, in his nostrils. It's everywhere.
I mean, yeah,
His gel layer isn't taking that impact.
No. Whap.
I would love a third-person view of all this.
Yeah. Let's finish them off there. Man, look at this! Just look at this destruction. It's just...
And you really do forget, like, if you've played this game a couple times on Anniversary and you go back to the original graphics, just how bloody it is.
Yeah. And again, I think that is basically the only reason why this game was originally an M.
Yes.
Because you can do that kind of crap. Oh, man, he got me in the corner.
Well, and for the grunt blowjob scenes.
Yeah, the optional ones if you play on Legendary.
Yeah. Real surprised when I found those for the first time.
They really sort of lit a flame deep in your adolescent heart, didn't it?
Grunt hot coffee.
Now we get to do this whole... Like, in that little animation that the Jackals do, where they kind of, like, cover their head and run away from you, I feel like that animation was made for when you're running down the hallway and just beating them to death with a rocket
It
launcher.
really was.
I probably should have picked up that health pack the last time through, but...
It's okay. You were having too much fun hitting things with your rocket
It's true,
launcher.
I did kind of get distracted, didn't I? That hunter never saw what was coming.
I just love the idea of these giant, imposing space enemies, and just from across the room you can shoot them with one bullet out of a fucking pistol.
Yeah.
Like, that might not kill a person if you did that.
Yeah, that's another thing of when you think about, like, if the Halo movie project had ever gotten off the ground and they tried to do, like, an adaptation of the actual story of Halo 1, I would hope that the entire time the Master Chief was only using a human pistol and a plasma pistol.
Yes.
So you have this giant 8-foot fucking super soldier walking around with the two smallest weapons in the entire, like, universe of the game. And that's the only weapons he uses because they're by far the most effective.
Other than the one scene where he beats a bunch of jackals to death with a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Why are you picking up that rocket launcher, Chief? It doesn't have any ammo.
Don't get out of
I
here
don't
before
need
these
any
walls
ammo.
Find that map.
I mean, it is nice that that one of the most satisfying melees in the game goes to the weapon that you kind of least want to use because you want to conserve your ammunition. It
Yes.
just gives you a nice ulterior or alternate method, and it's a good combination of getting the camouflage here, so that way you can just get right up behind people and just really
Give it to him.
just.
You were like halfway across the room.
Yeah,
from me.
I was
love
about 6 feet maybe away from that guy. Like, it's they account for the extreme range. They really do. It's just sad. It's just he doesn't even know. All his doofus friends just sort of collapsed
it. In a
front of
bloody
him,
heap. They
spouting blood.
spontaneously combusted.
And then right when my camo wears off, he notices me, and then that's the last thing he sees. Is my grim visage covered in blue blood. And then I get to press the button.
Halo really does always come down to pressing a button, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It is really about killing a lot of aliens, getting into a room, and then pressing a button. But, you know, I think that's fair enough. That's most of my life at some point. Is you distract it out enough.
The most legendary button press in Halo history, of course, I think being the button in Halo Reach you have to get to across a field of enemies on Legendary.
Yes,
that is one of the hardest things in a video game.
Yeah, that you just have to try to get the jetpack and kind of like sort of sequence break the mission so that you can kind of get it. This is one of my favorite little glitches in Halo 1. When the weapons or other objects get caught in the geometry, they just kind of freak out and spin. And make a very delightful sound effect. You can see it in shiny new graphics or old graphics, however you like.
What a fascinating exhibit.
Yes. I mean, it's that glitch they got rid of pretty quickly in Halo 2, so...
Alright, so we're on our way back up. Got a little bit of backtracking, but it's fun.
This guy he's a deep sleeper.
Yes.
Because I've shot about 3 of these rockets already, and I feel like shooting a rocket anywhere near this entire installation would make the whole thing shake. But, you know,
well. He'll never live to know the truth.
it's a long nap, and his good friend was just here, you know, a couple of feet from him. It's really kind of brutal. How weak the grunts are, you almost feel bad about it sometimes. But only ever almost.
And here we got the guitar coming in.
Yes. One of the most sort of iconic tracks of the Halo 1 soundtrack is this specific version of the main theme. And this is also, like, the hardest area in the whole game, I think, to figure out where the fuck you're supposed to go.
This is very true.
As you see, I've gotten very much turned around. I think you have to go up this way.
I think you're correct. I do like that this level kind of bookends itself with this theme.
Yes.
There are 2 different versions of it, of course, but, you know... And you feel sufficiently badass by the point this version plays that the guitar is very earned.
Yeah. And then you get, like, the strange vocals that are going to come in here in a little bit. But yeah, it's a really great, very...
Listen to that solo.
Yeah. Just let that play for a second. Oh, yeah.
That's the stuff.
Really should probably just start using up this rocket launcher at some point, because we're almost done with the level.
Yes.
Might as well have some fun. Like with you.
I also love the reload.
Yes, the reload is very good.
He takes those giant rockets out so casually. I don't know where he keeps the extra ammo.
You know, it's where he kept those, like, 64 sniper bullets in the last level. There we go. There we get the vocals in the backing track.
I saw a video online the other day about the music in The Witcher 3, and they had, like, the people who do all the vocals on that, like, in the studio singing the music, and it was so cool, like, oh, right, these are actual, like, human women, not, like, Norse gods or something.
Exactly, yeah, it's a really great vocal style.
But I would love to see that with Halo as well, like, who did this vocals here?
Yeah. You can see I'm just using the rocket willy-nilly here.
Why not?
I'm usually very conservative with these kinds of weapons in these games, but, you know, just have fun for this feature. God, the guitar in this track is very good.
We're distracted because we're listening to the music, I can tell. But, you know, it's our viewers probably are too. It's so good.
It is highly accomplished work. So that one Jackal down there, you see him crumpled at the bottom of the pit.
Fuck that guy.
There is something I just find so satisfying about the ending of this level, that you just really do wreak havoc on all these guys.
You just feel so much stronger coming back up than you did going down. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, you guys aren't going to stop me.
Yeah, and you have, like, all that rocket launcher ammo they give you. You really have... You're very well equipped for this area. And it's I think it's also... It helps is the balance of when you're coming down, it's just so quiet, and you're... You know, you have the kind of, like, the stealth mechanics that you can engage with and sneak up on guys when they're sleeping. And then when you're coming back up, they're all coming for you. And they don't realize that going after the Master Chief is the... quickest way to a small grave.
They blew up your planet. Master Chief's got a vendetta.
Very true.
Or you think he would. He doesn't ever seem to take it that personally.
No, but, you know, we get to take it personally for him.
Yeah. He has that one scene where he puts a gun to the Arbiter's face, but they're buddies after that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's why Jason Jones wanted him to, you know, put the hand on the glass and say,
Only blood will pay for this.
to kind of get into that vengeful mindset. But I don't think you want the Master Chief there. You just want the player there.
Yeah. Maybe they can use it in Halo 6.
Alright. Finish all these guys up.
Although, if you do want a different experience with this part of the level, that ridiculous trophy of getting all the way back up without firing your gun
Yeah.
is amazing. It's basically just melees and grenades. And it is... It's not quite as hard as you think it would be, but it is a lot of fun to try to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. It definitely is one of the nice things about having the achievements in the Anniversary version is they can force you to think about the levels in slightly different ways.
Yes.
Like you said, there's one for clearing this section without using any of your actual, like, guns, without firing a weapon. And you kind of have to sneak past and melee and use grenades when you can. And we have our friend, but since I left that warthog there earlier, they were shooting at him, but then I got killed anyways. It was not quite as cool as I was hoping it was going to be.
You really felt like you had something teed up there, Sean.
Yeah. Which, it worked well. Now he's out there. Oh,
There he
geez.
is. You left them all to die.
Yeah, well, they served their purpose very well. Because that's normally what happens as he comes out here, and I wasn't expecting him to run back down that alleyway last time. But
Yeah, it's okay.
we have it's a nice little...
If you want me to, I can edit it out and make you look really cool.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
People have to see it's the dynamism of the AI in Halo 1. And accident grenade throws.
Nice.
Then we get to take our chariot, drive it back up needlessly. But it does, I like the level ends with what is effectively a tiny little boss fight that if you don't know that he's going to be there, like I did, you're not necessarily prepared for him. So he's just going to surprise you. And it's fun, just to have that, like, him set up at the beginning of the level and then take him out at the end. And we get a couple of little invisible guys, I think, in here.
We're almost done. This level is not as long as I ever remember it being. We could beat this one in 25 minutes to half an hour if we wanted.
Oh, easily, yeah.
But we took our time with this one actually more a little bit, just because it's one you want to savor a little bit.
Yeah, you want to be able to sort of appreciate, because there are a number of different ways you can kind of get around this island and get to the different objectives, and it's
a very dense level.
Yeah, it's one of those that when I first played this game, and back in the day when I didn't have every video game in the world to play, there's like a billion like $5 indie games I could play at any second, and this was like the only game I had. I would just spend hours walking around and exploring like this little weird cave thing that you can take to get down there instead of just jumping down. And there are a bunch of tiny little nooks and crannies like that make it such a rich level to just sort of jump in and explore when you have, that sort of like summer break when you're a kid. And have all the time to just be able to sort of appreciate the intricate level design of a level like this one, the Silent Cartographer.
And now we get a very cool cutscene. Because Fohammer's just going to take this thing underground.
It's frankly a pretty absurd cutscene when you really think about the physics and relative sizes of objects in the scene. And, the limitations of Halo 1. The geometry is not necessarily designed so that big thing opens up.
Yeah.
It's just very heavily implied that it opens up. But yeah, the Pelican very clearly could not have fit in there.
No.
But here we are. That's a great shot.
That is a good shot. Even when they couldn't quite nail it because of the technology, I think they always had a good sense of composition.
Yeah, they did well with what they had, and that's what counts the most.
All right, well, we will see you guys next time for Assault on the Control Room.
Yes.